The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Let me be your lighthouse so I can show you the way. Let me be your shining light, I'll keep you from drifting away. I'm the one that makes you try when...
Hello, this is Patty Hunter. I'm doing another Patty's Page here today, and to my left is Terry Doran. Hello, Terry.
Hello, Patty.
How
Nice
are
to
you
be
today?
here.
You know, I've had him on so many times as my co-host. I mean, this is so natural. It's so comfortable. So today we're going to be talking about Terry. And first off, we're going to be talking about May 28th, 2017. That's a Sunday, I do believe.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is a flyer of Riverdrums 2017 that's happening here at Rothschild Pavilion at Headwaters Park. So, can you tell us what you have on there? You know,
Well,
who
this
we're
is
gonna
our
have.
second Riverdrums. We had our first one last year on Father's Day on the Wells Street Bridge. About did us all in. It was so hot. I mean, I love the Wells Street Bridge, but it was so hot. It was 90-degree plus day, and then the sun beating down on that bridge, the beams, the wood floor was probably over 100, and but it was a great event.
Yeah.
Riverdrums combines artistic expression with social commentary, and we had a lot of different artists participating, the music, drumming, art for kids and adults.
And dancing, of
drumming, dancing, singing.
Poetry.
Yeah, poetry.
I did some poetry.
We had the theme of honoring our rivers, which is why it's called Riverdrums, and honoring our rivers is honoring our native heritage in Fort Wayne. And
this year's 2000.
and this year we will make it an even bigger focus with a discussion called From Kikianga to Fort Wayne.
Yes.
For those who don't know, Kikianga was the original name of this settlement. It was populated mostly by members of the Miami Indian tribe, but other tribal as well, members as well. It was a federation of tribes. Kikianga was located primarily in what is now the Lakeside Park area of Fort Wayne, right by the Three Rivers.
And who will we have as guests?
For that show, we will have Dr. Patrick Ashton, who was a professor of sociology at IPFW. Now he's at Manchester College in North Manchester, Indiana.
Okay.
Patrick is a historian of the area. That flyer that you held up has a quote from an editorial that he wrote in the Journal Gazette. It's in the gray shaded area there. And calling for the need for both sides of the story. You know, Fort Wayne is named after Anthony Wayne, whose main claim to fame is coming here, sent by George Washington III, general sent by Washington. Little Turtle, the great Miami chief, defeated the first two generals.
Yeah.
That were sent here. And the third try, he sent Anthony Wayne, a retired Revolutionary War general. And the reason Anthony Wayne won, well, the force was just too great. But there was a white man named William Wells
Yes.
Wells Street is named after. And William Wells was kidnapped, taken hostage by the Miamis,
Oh.
and they spared him, they adopted him, made him one of their own. He grew up as a Miami. He married Little Turtle's daughter. He was married several times, but one of his marriages was to Little Turtle's daughter. He became great friends with Little Turtle, and he fought with Little Turtle in the second battle against General St. Clair, which is, I believe, the biggest defeat ever handed the United States Army. I think bigger than
Standing Rocks.
Custer's Last Stand.
Oh, Custer's Last Stand, I'm sorry.
Anyway, not the biggest, one of the biggest. But here's what happened. William Wells, for whatever reason, went back to his white family. And so they lost a great warrior. Little Turtle did not fight against Anthony Wayne. And William Wells not only went back to his white family, he became a scout for Anthony Wayne. If that had not happened, Anthony Wayne, I don't think would have defeated the Indians. Eventually, the European invaders would have won, but at least the name wouldn't be Fort Wayne, you know, which I've railed against his name for a long time and railed to no avail. but this one, from Kikianga to Fort Wayne, is going to try to honor this history of Native Americans, their culture, their way of life, their gardening, their view on the environment. Yes, they were violent too.
Everybody, all humans are.
Apparently all humans
Are the
have
same,
violence
no
in
matter
them.
where.
Because people point that out, like that excuses taking their land away. You know, they were here long before Anthony Wayne or anybody else like that were here. And this was 1794 that Anthony Wayne won and got the name changed to him, Fort Wayne. And then later, 1800s, mid-1800s, in that vicinity, a lot of the Miamis were removed by force from their homes to Oklahoma, where a lot of Miamis still live. There are a lot of Miamis still in Indiana, by the way. So this focus will be on getting Miamis and other Indian tribes honored in the riverfront development frenzy that's going on in Fort Wayne by putting signs, plaques. You know, Fort Wayne just put a sign up downtown, what's on the ground, but it says Fort Wayne founded on the river 1794. Well, that tells only a little bit of the story. Yes, the city, Fort Wayne, but what about before that? What about Kikianga? You know, Kikianga is on the city seal. So the city acknowledges the importance of Kikianga.
What's the English name for Kikiangas?
It's called the Blackberry Patch, and you know, I'm not sure where Kikianga came from.
It's a nice, beautiful
But it's
name.
a beautiful name and would be a far better name than Fort Wayne. You know?
So, this Riverdrums 2017 is fast coming up in May, May 28th. That's a Memorial Weekend, and we're hoping that people will be able to come out to.
We hope so.
Join us.
Yes. Besides the, you know, we have members of the Chinese Symphony Orchestra from Indianapolis, Ken Nolan, a Cherokee flutist, Kayla Godfrey Becker will be on. They asked who would be on.
Yeah.
She's a Miami. She will speak about her art. She's a dancer and she makes her own beautiful clothing. So she's an artist, dancer,
and
spokesperson.
Yeah. True.
And we'll have some people from Riverfront Development. We'll have people from Save Maumee, a fantastic grassroots organization trying to save our rivers, to keep them clean.
Our MC is going to be Fernando Zapari, who is the CEO of El Mexicano newspaper here in Fort Wayne.
Yeah,
He's
Fernando
all right.
spoke last year. He was so good. And
He's a gentle soul.
another, yeah, gentle soul. Speaking of gentle souls and Memorial Day, what a fitting day to honor my great friend Bill White. We're here in February. Bill died just a few days ago. He and I shared many memories on the epic Say Maumee River trip of April 2014. He shared an incredible story on that trip, a school that he went to when he was in the 8th grade, a Catholic military school,
Yeah.
which it's no longer, it's now buffet, and not a buffet, a catering. It's a beautiful place. It's been remodeled. They let us go in.
Where is that again? Where was
It's
it?
in Grand Rapids, Ohio.
Ohio.
Grand Rapids, Ohio is a little town on the Maumee.
Yeah.
It was the last stop really before Toledo. The trip went Fort Wayne
Maumee
to Toledo
River.
on the Maumee River. And Bill had never been back since the 8th grade. This was 1962. And it just happened that the school was right there, and the trip was about 5 miles outside of Grand Rapids, Ohio, on a big, overlooking the Maumee River on a hill. It's a beautiful setting. And when it was a school, it was an elite boarding school for wealthy Catholic boys. Bill was not Catholic, but his parents thought he needed help, and this would help him, and the parish helped them with the money. I think they took out a mortgage on their house. And Bill, unexpectedly to everybody, died. And
Yeah, he would have been 66 this year.
he'd been right around there, yes.
Yeah.
About 8 years younger than,
Yeah.
around 66.
66.
And I made a documentary about the trip called Anne Frank and the River Traveler. Bill White is the river traveler. What got him through almost got him through the year was reading Anne Frank, who wrote her famous diary about the same age as Bill was. Started it about the same age. So that's what the title, Anne Frank and the River Traveler. And, you know, just a week left before graduation, Bill left the school. He ran away. And then he ended up with a woman in Chicago, much older, twice as old at least. But she befriended him, took him in, and I've written a play that we're going to perform at Riverdrums.
It's going to be a good one. How many people will be in the play, dear?
It's a one-act play.
One
There'll
act?
be about a dozen people in the cast. The main people are a young boy, about 12. Anybody, well, probably by the time this airs, we'll have a cast, and the woman that he talks to, who is a drug addict and a prostitute, according to Bill. I made this, I based it as much as I could on what things Bill said, but it's not literally
Per se.
what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I just used my imagination, but some of it, like leaving the school, the police arresting the prostitute, which is how Bill was found. He was there.
He was only, what, 13 at that time?
He was about 13, yeah. He left the school in May, and I think he was taken into custody in October.
Wow.
And now, not all that time was he in Chicago with her. He had traveled around. He even came back to Fort Wayne several times and hid out in his mother's garage, but he never actually went in the house.
So he was one.
And when the police arrested the lady, they called Bill's mother.
Oh.
They didn't arrest Bill, they released him to his mother, and there was a joyous reunion. So
He was one strong-minded little guy at that time, and he still was throughout his whole life.
Bill White was, he touched people because
He was peaceful.
there's a memorial for him, and well deserved. Bill attended all the peace rallies, all the
Yes.
anti-war rallies, all the Standing Rock rallies. Standing Rock being the big episode in North Dakota. The same thing with Anthony Wayne. Nothing's changed. Those oil drillers are Anthony Wayne.
Oh my God.
Just going to drill oil, tear up land, reservation land, ignore treaties. Of course, America's never honored any treaties with Native Americans. And put the well-being of millions of people along the Missouri River. 18 million people get their drinking water from the Missouri River. The company that is in charge of the drilling has one of the worst safety records of any company. And these oil drillers spill. I mean, oil spills. It's not even a question of when. It's not a question of if, it's when it will spill. So anyway, that's what we got going for Riverdrums. I'm going to dedicate Riverdrums to Bill White. You know, and Bill was there last year.
Yes, he was.
Here's an example of Bill. He cleaned out the porta-john. That is a dirty, filthy job. He offered. He wanted to do it. He wanted to contribute. And I'm so glad that he got quoted. You know, we had a front page story in the Journal-Gazette, and Bill was quoted in that story. And so I'm so happy for that. And he's in my documentary, and I hope this play does him justice. The irony is I was trying to get a hold of him to talk to him about it, and
We found out.
I found out he had died. And
It was yesterday we found out. Eh?
and another bit of irony, you know, Bill was in the school that we're going to talk about here in a little bit, which really is the forerunner of Riverdrums. Everything I've done since then has been modeled or inspired by the Fort Wayne Folk School.
Talk
And
about
this
the
was
Fort
in
Wayne.
the 70s, and
Yeah, the
Bill was part of the folk school, and he met his wife there. So the irony is I was being interviewed about the folk school by my new friend, Dr. Catherine Folbear, who's a professor of women's studies at IPFW. She's conducting a series of interviews on me because she really likes the folk school, the idea of a school of no walls, a school of no grades, a school with hardly any rules, actually.
So how
And,
did you form the folk school? I mean, you had to have some sort of structure.
Yeah. It wasn't there was structure. I was a public school teacher and got fired for mostly being a nice person to my students. At my hearing, there was a hearing. They suspended me. Then there was a hearing, and one of my students spoke at the hearing, and he summed it all up. He said, well, with other teachers, they're up here, you know, he put his hand over his head. They're up here, and we're down here, you know, like looking at his waist.
Looking down.
Like they were above us, but with Mr. Doran, we were equal.
Yes.
And that was such a beautiful statement.
So how long has the folk school been?
And I was, I guess I wanted to prove that something to myself, something to other people. And so out of that experience, I was also against the Vietnam War. This was 1968.
Is that what got you fired?
That has never changed either, one war after another.
Yeah.
And Bill, very, very much anti-war, which created an instant bond between us, I would say.
I missed him because I've known him for about 3 or 4 years or more since I know Terry. I met Bill, and Bill has been had been a good friend to me as anyone could have, and I miss him. And he was like a brother, really.
Yeah,
and we
Bill,
could always talk mano a mano, just talk one-on-one. And he made a lot of sense. He was quite wise in his, he was mature in every way, and I miss him.
And he was a friend to a lot of people. I mean,
Yes.
I mentioned he cleaned out the porta-john.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people would volunteer and say, I'll do it, I'll do it.
I don't think he had any enemy at all. None whatsoever, because everyone loved him. Well,
Probably not. Not if anybody actually knew him.
yeah, they
You
knew
know,
him personally.
He loaned his car out to people. He did a lot of stuff. So
He shared a lot.
that's
Very
why
nice.
really the Polk School is the spirit of Bill White. I mean, we had full-time students, maybe 6, and these were kids that did not do well in public schools. They were great in the Polk School because they could not handle the rigidity, the grades, the classes, the competition, all this sort of
How did you grade
thing.
them?
Didn't grade them.
You didn't grade them.
No grades whatsoever.
How did they graduate?
Well, nobody actually graduated, formally graduated. The Polk School lasted only a couple years, then it continued with Theater for Ideas, the Polk School's Theater for Ideas. So it continued on after that in that respect, but nobody actually graduated. Bill White would have been perfect in the Polk School. It
Yes.
would have saved him. It would have been far better to go to that Catholic school, but then we wouldn't have his incredible stories. So, which I think is inspiring to anybody who's against war and seeks a spiritual life, seeks something more than just money, profit, greed that just so dominates American culture. But not everybody. That's the beauty of Bill White. Not everybody.
There's a lot of people out in America who are beautiful people and who get along well with the people that we know. There's not a lot, there's some negativity out there, quite a lot, but there's an awful lot of people who are beautiful minded, who love, who are compassionate, and Bill was one of the top people that I know who was like that. Right?
He certainly was, yes. You know, and Bill never changed. He was a staunch opponent of war at the end, as he was back there in 1962 when he was 12 years old. I admire him for that.
He was a solid character.
And here's one article about me. There's many about the Polk School, but you can see it says Terry Doran Public Schools
Kind of hard to
overemphasized.
focus on it because it's kind of whitish, yellowish color. But Terry Doran has touched a lot of people's lives educationally, spiritually, and he has done many movies. He won an Emmy
Not an Emmy, no, but I won a couple awards.
for Eagle Gone, and he started a lot of groups. He came with the ideas, and other people grew their own organizations or whatever. What was one?
Pardon?
What was one like the woman's? Okay, what was it? You had all these beautiful ideas, and everybody worked on those ideas, and they had their own organizations built from that.
Well, that's a good way of putting it. That's what the Polk School was. It was beautiful ideas, people coming together. It was modeled after the schools in Denmark, the Danish folk schools, which still exist. There are a lot of people that helped me get the folk school going. You asked about structure. We had people would sign up. We had 2 components, the full-time students, then we had a curriculum for them. And then the other component was community exchange of ideas, of learning. So for example, you could sign up to teach a class on producing a show. people sign up or to teach cooking classes, to teach karate, all different kinds of things. We had no resumes. You didn't have to apply. You just showed up and said, I want to do this. We had a form, and you'd say, I want to do this at my house at 5 o'clock on Wednesdays. So we'd announce, here's a new book school class. There were a lot of people involved in the beginning.
Did you have sponsors?
No, my downfall is I never have money for anything.
But your ideas are the most creative I've ever come across. With a lot of people that I've grown up with. Besides my husband's very creative. And
well, that's my I guess my currency is the ideas and touching people. The reason Catherine, I think, is so interested is that I'm credited with being a founder of the women's movement in Fort Wayne, which led to the Women's Bureau. And it's mostly women, of course, but she finds that, being a women's scholar, women's studies, finds that very interesting.
Yeah. With that, we're going to go to another episode speaking more about what he had helped to create in Fort Wayne. So we'll see you next week with part 2 of my interview with Terry Doran. Bye, Terry. See you.
Wow, thank you, Patty. That went fast.
Godspeed, my love, until we meet again. You're always in my heart and every dream. Don't let this time apart give in to all our fears. God will keep us close from up above. So until we meet again, Godspeed.